Hi, welcome to the Market Alert for Friday, the 30th of July 2020. So dollar drops, the bond yields tumble after the greatest economic collapse ever. As I've said before, we were looking for this in September, but it's come early and the market volatility has kicked off, as we saw during yesterday's trading session, which is great news for us. And this is only going to get worse as the COVID cases increase around the globe, and that's in July, August. I dread to think what's going to happen come the autumn. And one thing I do know for sure, there is no recovery. There is absolutely no economic recovery. They didn't cure the problem in 2008 with the 800 billion they printed to bail the banks out. You've seen the video where I talk about the missing 4 trillion. And it's just a matter of time before the whole lot comes crashing down like a house of cards. And this is what you get when you continually print. So yesterday, I think the penny has started to drop, and we're seeing things now that we've, like I say, I was expecting in September, but it's the gift has come along earlier than anticipated. So let's have a look at some of the other news for yesterday as well. Markets nearing limits. Futures fall. European markets tumble after GDP crashes, which we can see here. US quarter GDP crashes to a record 32.9, worse than the Great Depression. That's in the US. And of course we had the German GDP prelim yesterday as well, which came out at -10, which we'll look at in just a moment. And then the implied volatility has kicked up as well from 21.16 to 22.53 for yesterday. And we've gone to amber, which I spoke about yesterday as well, as Dow prices closed below the 20-bar moving average. So a lot to get through. Let's have a look at yesterday morning to start with. We had a sell signal in the market just after 7 a.m. when the futures market opened. Prices were trading at the 200 and the DP, and we saw the selling come in here. And of course, once we got the sell signal, until we get a reversal and then a reversal back, you won't get another signal. So the market came back up to the 20-bar moving average, which you can see here, and then continued lower. And you can see the selling there. And as soon as the market opened, it just went into free fall there, straight through the low, where I was expecting some sort of support. But if you can't find the support, then they will drive through it, and that's precisely what happened. And you can see as they try to bring the market back, it fails, and prices continue to move lower. And again, you can see the shorts taking their profits with the green bars there until prices move down to the S3. Now, interestingly enough, when you get down towards an extreme in the pivots, S3, you will likely see prices trade sideways, and the momentum starts to come out of the market, which you can see here now as I've zoomed in. So you can see the S3 there, and the market starting to go into a bit of a sideways move there. So prices are now sideways, and what I'm looking for here is we've got major high impact news, and interestingly enough, this is something else that I've noticed recently as well. Right, and just fast forward to the point. We had a potential signal here, but it isn't traded. You can see I've actually removed the just come back. You'll see me remove the markup off the trade because I'm waiting for the news to be released. This is delayed. Normally it would come out just on this bar after we've got the vertical pink column there, but it doesn't. It was delayed for about 3 minutes, and I keep going back and checking and refreshing just so I can get the figure, so I can see whether I can find a trade or not. And eventually you can see how the bars are still being drawn, but we're not getting any news. And eventually we get it 4 or 5 minutes after, and the signal's already being filled. So then it's a matter of waiting, and prices, we get another potential buy signal there that's not filled, and then prices move low once again and retest the lows over here, and you can see them taking profits as the market once again moves lower, and then prices move lower into the just after 10 a.m. there. Note also that the market only closed above the 5-bar moving average a couple of times, and here you can see once it reversed there, prices then continued on the downside as well, failing to close above the 20-bar moving average and the 5, and then prices showing the selling there as the market went through the BRN. Bit of profit taking here, but prices closing back below the 5-bar, and once it does this, it moves lower as well. And this is why I use the 5-bar moving average, because it's a great measurement of momentum once a market starts to move and allows you to stay in the trade. So let's fast forward through to lunchtime, and we had the US jobless claims, and again these coming out worse than forecast. With there we go, I know I had them somewhere. So again, I'm just looking to see what's happened with the news, and you can see there they came out actually they were slightly better than forecast, but the damage is slightly, I mean it's hardly any difference, to be honest with you. But once again, another 1.4 million jobless claims. And then eventually this too, the market succumbs to this bad news. And there was a whole stack of bad news yesterday. And eventually we get into the start, and prices sideways. And towards the end of the session, which unfortunately I wasn't here for, I had an appointment, we had a trade here where we had a short. Now, let me just talk you through what happened in this trade. As the market came down to the scalp and the first profit target. Notice as it hits this level, the volume is greater than the previous bar, and the previous bar's range is greater. So there is some buying pressure in this bar. And again, you'll see how quickly the volume builds, which also is as high, if not higher, than the previous bar as well. Very tiny range, and the market hasn't moved any lower. So again, we know that there is some buying support coming into the market here. And then prices turn around, and we have a potential buy signal which is filled. The market then starts to drive higher, and again, watch the 5-bar moving average, and you'll see prices sitting above this, trading up to the BRN, which is an area where you would consider taking profits, as you've already got an indication of potential weakness coming into the market, and then prices reversing there. So that would be the final trade for yesterday. Overnight, let's have a look, see what things are doing, and we can see that the DAX is once again continuing to weaken. This is going to be a crucial area, the 200-bar moving average in the daily chart. You can see over here how it was a support during the sideways move of June, and now we've got a situation where we could actually see prices break this convincingly and move to the downside. I'm going to redraw these fibs now from this point here to here, just to see where we are in the bigger picture. So let's have a look from here to here, and you'll see that the 62 ties in with the 200 MA, so this will be a very interesting area of support. Make a note of 12,244. If this is broken, we've got this area of support as well. Now, one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to come back to this area here that where you can see there's also a low, and I want to see if the market has any other fibs supporting it. And you can see this now. Here you've got two sets of fibs. You've got the 62 and the 78. So there should be support around this 200 MA and the 12,244 or 12,250 area. So keep an eye on this when you've got a sort of a double support. Then I'll just save this. So on the overnight, we can see at the moment that prices have moved lower. Once again, they gap lower at below the 200 bar moving average, and then continued once they came back up to it and moved lower. Let me have a look at where we are with the fibs. I like to see the bigger picture of where everything relates from the daily chart into the intraday chart. So that's yesterday's close. We haven't got to yesterday's low yet, and again, this is going to be important. And oddly enough, that ties in, I think. Let's have a look. It does. It ties in with this. So the low really does offer some support for today's session, which we can see here, which ties in with that 112.251, and the 244 is the area. So it'll be interesting to see the market trades down to here in the futures part of the session. But again, it's very important to actually do this bit of planning beforehand to know why something or the prices would actually stop at this area. Let's have a quick look at news for today. We've got core price index, personal spend in Chicago, PMI, revised UOM consumer sentiment. Everything is out at 1:30 apart from Chicago PMI and the revised UOM, which is out at 3 p.m. So remember to keep an eye out for those as well. Looks like we're already going down to this level before the market even opens on the futures. At the moment I'm recording, it's just after 6:30 a.m. as you can see there. So a lot of volatility, which is fantastic. Okay, just before I finish, let's have a look from the headline where we saw the dollar index continuing to move lower. And you can see overnight also that this is continuing. The dollar at the moment in decline, as can be seen there. And this is good news for the precious metals. You can see now that gold is surging ahead of the all-time high made back in 2011, along with silver, which is nowhere near its all-time high yet. As we look at a monthly chart, and just bring this back, you can see we've got a long way to go for the all-time high, which is why I've said for a long time, and in the second part of the end of the financial road, that silver was the most undervalued asset, and that's proving to be the case now. So again, you can see how this is all starting to come together. It is different this time as far as the economic fallout and collapse that is unfolding before our very eyes. Okay, that will do it for this one. If there is anything to report, I will let you know. It is Friday, so have a great weekend, and as ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.